The 999th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Chalkx. Make real money, predict in sports. Chalkx is available in all 50 states, and you get $20 free with promo code SGPN. That's Chalkx, promo code SGPN.
Howdy ho, degenerados. Welcome to episode 999 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Have a dedicated one to, I don't recognize his name, Bill Brasky, one of our friends on the old YouTube, who was asking about Mario Pinto. Welcome to the podcast, 999. It would be pretty funny if we just made this our last episode. That'll be a flex. Probably not, though. Gumby and I still like to make money. That would be Gumby. You heard chuckle. He gave me a laugh, which is nice. Daniel Gumby Vreeland. I am Jeff Fox, aka the Kitchener Terror. Episode 999 is Octagon episode. It would have been better if Octagon was episode 1000, but that's fine. The way the chips fall, Octagon is back. They weren't really gone that long. We just did Octagon 81. It actually got, they're smart. They ran when the UFC was dark, and they probably got a lot more eyeballs and publicity on them than they would have otherwise. And now they're running again when the UFC is dark. They're going to basically their home away from home, which is Germany, Dusseldorf, Germany this weekend for Octagon 82. Pretty solid fight card, at least names I've heard of. A lot of fights I see fights have fallen off. We've had some late replacement people come in, but at least the main event.
I think is the co-main completely makeshift, right? Because it was
Zawada Ligocki, I think
originally Umberger versus
Cordero,
Jamie Cordero. Right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So it's totally been changed. Yeah. Yeah. Main event should be fine at the very least, right?
I think the whole
UFC fighter.
And there's a couple of fights on the prelims, or a couple of fighters on the prelims that I'm really jacked up about, including. So you're gonna have to wait for the lightning round at the end, but including one guy who's maybe made me more money than all other regional fighters combined.
Nice.
Yeah. And we're obviously going to be in on him again. And he's an underdog.
Nice. Does he have a fun nickname? Is it who I'm thinking it is?
Oh man, I don't know.
Okay, maybe not. All right. So what was I going to say? Octagon, we're Octagon stands around these parts because they put on good fights, fighters you've heard of. Exciting presentation usually, and they have odds that are posted already too, which is always fun here as well. So today is all about Octagon. Fun fight card, no belt technically, but the main event is for the Tip Sport Game Changer Championship, which is a big money thing, right? We always talk about how much
it's €1 million, right? But like the other fights they got, it's I don't know the exact calculation of how much money one of them is going to make, but it is a substantial amount of money.
Yeah, €1 million, like 1.2 million US, I think, about that. So yeah, very more than probably Krzysztof Jotko, who's in the main event, probably more than he made in his whole UFC career combined. And he had a long career. So actually, definitely, there's no way he made over $1 million in the UFC. So
I don't know. Wasn't he ranked like 8 for a while?
That doesn't matter. You know how they pay.
Yeah, I do.
Still, you can see why people like Octagon, because there is big money to be had in the old Octagon. So big money to be had with our plays today, hopefully as well. A reminder, though, with some of the winnings that we give you, you should go spend some of it in a merch store. You don't have to spend a lot because we have a sale going on right now. Plus, new merch. New year, new merch. So sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store is the place to go. The SGPN merch store has a bunch of new items for the new year. And right now, 10% off everything with promo code 2026 is the code. Check out all the MMA Gambling Podcast gear. Basically, all of Gumby and my outfits that are on these episodes, technically, almost are always from the merch store. So if you want to look cool like us, because we're obviously super cool, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. No Boston Bruin hats there, though. Sadly, sorry about that. But who would want one of those anyhow? All right, Octagon 82. Engizek versus Jotko, Dusseldorf, Germany. It is a Saturday event. LFA was Friday, which is good. So this one is Saturday noon start time. You get it on their website. I'm not positive how much they cost. Because do you know how much they cost?
I believe it's right around like $12 American.
Yeah. Basically, that's what KSW charges for theirs as well. So I shouldn't say KSW though. I guess they're enemies, like KSW and.
I don't know if they're enemies. They
rivals.
They think they coexist peacefully.
Yeah, hopefully they should do some joint ones. That would be fun. All right, 12 fights. We're gonna do basically half of them in full, and then Gumby have plenty to choose from for the lightning round. He also told you to pay attention at the lightning round because he's got some winners for you there, and he kind of promised to track his.
To try. I promised to try.
He promised to try, yeah, which is true. Not hard to do. We're starting with big boys, heavyweights, 3 5-minute rounds. Marc Doussis. He is from Germany. I probably said his name wrong. Yevhenii Orlov. He is from Ukraine. There, I didn't put the in front of him that time. 3 5-minute rounds, 265. And we do have odds, like I said. So you've seen the odds, I assume, Gumby?
Yeah, I've seen the
odds. All right, no guessing today. Doussis, 9-5 with 1 no contest, 5 knockouts, 4 submissions. So he's finished everyone. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted once. He owes his rounds. 1-3 in OKTAGON. He's lost 3 straight. And he's gone 2-5 over his last 7. 2 straight losses have come via TKO. He's not won at fights since May 2023. 1-2 in KSW. Regional champ. Used to fight at 205 plus 170. Orlov, 9-1, 7 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out once. He owes his rounds for sure. 0-1 in OKTAGON. He's won 8 straight fights. He's not lost since April 2019. Regional champ. An inch taller than Doussis. Olympic wrestler. He was in the 2012 Olympics, I believe. Where he wrestled, didn't medal, but he was in the Olympics. Minus 200 for him.
Yeah, you got to like a fight where neither guy has won in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
One of them being because he hasn't fought in 3 years. The other one has fought plenty of times in the last 3 years. I'm gonna go with Orlov here. First of all, what is Doussis doing at heavyweight? I'm very confused by this because this is a guy who I watched at middleweight not that long ago, if I'm not mistaken. Did I not watch him fight Scott Askham?
Let me see. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't mark down his weight, different weights.
That Scott Askham fight. Well, okay, so he did not fight Scott Askham at middleweight. Scott Askham is made middleweight, and that's maybe more telling.
Yeah.
Because if you watch that fight, Scott Askham just like puts him up against the cage and doesn't let him out. Takes him down.
Yeah, it was 205.
Yeah. Oh, that's 205. Okay, so up a little.
Yeah,
bit
all his fights were at 205. Maybe I didn't say that before. Yeah. He last fight he weighed in at 208 pounds.
Okay, and so like Askham could take him down at will, hold him against the cage at will, beat him up there. And not that Askham's not a good wrestler, but Askham is also like a 185er. It has been a 185er.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about a guy who barely weighs 210 pounds, and maybe he'll weigh more come this fight, going up and fighting an Olympic Greco-Roman wrestler. And look, Orlov's, does he look great on the feet? No, not yet. Like, he kind of throws his hands out there and he's kind of really hittable. His head stays on the line, like you might think from a guy who, started as a Greco-Roman wrestler and maybe hasn't figured out the rest of his game. But as soon as he's got a hold on you, his Greco-Roman game is really, really nice. I like the way that he's got a couple of drop takedowns, some lat takedowns and stuff like that. It all works really, really nicely. And with just like as bad as Doussis has been in terms of both his durability and his grappling defense, just being able to get back up, being able to get off the cage and stuff like that. You put him against anybody who can wrestle. I'm taking the guy who can wrestle. Whether he's been off for 3 years or not, whether he's, this dude's like a bowling ball too. Have you seen pictures of this guy?
No, I'm gonna look him up right now because I like bowling.
Orlov's a big dude. He looks like he could play Kingpin in a superhero movie. Just like how's Doussis gonna get that guy off of him if he can't get middleweight Scott Askham? So I'm gonna take Orlov here. Negative 200, probably a fine price because you're taking a guy who's had trouble with grappling up against an Olympic wrestler. That's gonna work every time.
Yep, looks like a mean dude.
Yeah,
arms are bigger than mine, so he's huge, obviously. All right, yeah, I figured that was a pretty good odds. I know it's heavyweight and anything can happen, but I think minus 200.
I think the 3 years off is probably the big, deterrent there from getting higher.
Yep, it's true, which is something I forgot to mention as well. Lucky Gumby's here. All right, we got a fight with even closer odds coming up next. It is 145 pounds. Gjoni Palokaj from Albania. Did I say it right again?
Palokaj.
Yeah, Palokaj, yes. James Hendin, not James Harden. James Hendin for the United Kingdom. 3 5 rounds, 145. Harden is not making 145 for sure. Let's tell you about Hendin first. 10-3, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been submitted 1 time. 2-1 in OKTAGON. He's won 4 or 5. He won his last bout. 7-2 in Cage Warriors. He's fought at 155 minus 104. Palokaj, 12-3, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been submitted once. He's durable. 5-0 in OKTAGON. He's won 7 straight and 10 of 12. He's not lost since April 2022. He has multiple region championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get our shirt, get our merch, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Remember, 2026 at checkout gets you 10% off. Use Fighter 155, 2016 Pro MMA debut, a year younger than Hendin.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the underdog here. I'm going to take James Hendin. This is an interesting fight in terms of where it got lined in, because when it got posted, I was like, I assumed Hendin would be the favorite. And then I looked and I was like, oh, they're going with Palokaj. Okay, well, hey, that's value for me. And then I went back and I watched their most recent fights, and I think their most recent fights are why, or like their last 2 or 3 fights are why. If you watch Palokaj, like he had a lot of success grappling against Jakub Bukfolski in his last fight. And Bukfolski's kind of like a wiry, like always been able to fight his way back to his feet, gonna put a brawl together with you at some point in time kind of fighter. And so, like, of course, Palokaj had success with his wrestling. Like, was going to be his advantage in that fight. And on the other hand, like, Hendin, I think it wasn't his last fight. I think it was 2 fights ago. He fought Makaev. And in that fight, like, he got in on a lot of takedowns and he didn't finish them. But, like, that's already getting in on takedowns on Muhammad Makaev is already kind of an accomplishment, in my opinion, because he's not an easy guy to take down. He's not an easy guy to even get in on takedowns. And if you've watched Hendin historically, he's only really struggled with like some very, very, very talented grapplers. Like Jordan Vucenic has gotten them before. Man, I want to say, who's the PFL guy who fought Usman Nurmagomedov twice there? Why am I drawing a blank on the Irish dude's name?
Yes, no, I am too. Hughes, Paul Hughes.
Paul Hughes, yeah, Paul Hughes got him. So like he's fought like a really high level of opponents. And for me here, Palokaj, might be a touch better on the feet, but I think this fight is going to turn into them on the floor scrambling a little bit. And the jiu-jitsu of Hendin, I think, is what sticks out. Like, this is a guy who finds your back and doesn't let you up. This is a guy who does a really good job of acquiring the neck and finishing submissions. And, maybe that's even worse for Palokaj if he's thinking about wrestling. Because, like I said, we're talking about a guy who had a lot of success recently wrestling versus a guy who hasn't had a lot of success wrestling recently. And I think the guy who hasn't had a lot of success is the better wrestler. If you watch just like the technique in the two in terms of their fights, I think Hendin is a better grappler here. Now, I think he's going to have to avoid some of the hands because I do think he's a touch slower on the feet, but I'll take the underdog here with his grappling ability. All
right. Lock it in on the underdog. A negative underdog, but an underdog nonetheless. All right, we're going to get you more winning plays coming up after I tell you about AVO, a new sponsor. That's AVO, pronounced AVO. Make more money betting sports with AVO. That's AVO. AVO is the best sports betting tool. It helps you make a profit every time you decide to place bets. They do this by spotting arbitrage and plus EV opportunities for you faster than the competitors, and they keep you organized in one place. If you're new to arbitrage or betting, you're finding opportunities in the market where you bet both sides to lock in a profit. They have the cleanest dashboard around. That's one important thing. And it's also super easy to understand and use. But they also teach you how to use it with step-by-step video guides in case you have questions. Just sign up, pick the sportsbook, plural, you use, and let AVO tell you how much to bet to guarantee a profit. Still insured, check out their free Discord. That's AVO Official. That's AVO Official, and see the success people are having for themselves. Get started now with AVO.bet or AVO.bet. I keep spelling it. And use promo code SGPN for $18 off. That's AVO.bet, promo code SGPN for $18 off. Kalshi. Kalshi is a real money prediction market, legal in all 50 states. In all 50 states, you can trade tons of markets and sports, including NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, NHL, and more. Plus, you can even trade props like first touchdowns. Besides sports, they have tons of other markets, including politics, entertainment. Hell, they even have the weather. Kalshi, you can trade anything. Gumby does articles at sportsgamblingpockets.com, giving you some suggestions on things you can trade over at Kalshi. New Kalshi customers get $20 when they use our promo code SGPN. So it's Kalshi, it's spelled Kalshi, promo code SGPN. Back to Dusseldorf, Germany. We're going to a 145-pound fight next. Deniz Ilbay, he is from Germany. Karol Ryšavý, he is from the Slovak Republic. They're fighting, as I said, at featherweight, 3 5-minute rounds. I'm going to tell you about Gumby first. That's Ryšavý. Bombi is 14-10, 7 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted twice, 12-8 in Octagon. He won their challenge championship, which was like their Ultimate Fighter back in the day. So he won a season of that. He's lost 2 straight fights. He's won 1 of 5, 3 of 9. Used to fight at 155, 1-0 as a pro grappler, 5 inches taller than Ilbay, plus 225. Ilbay, of course, is El Pistorello. That was my nickname for a while, too. I think Bombi may have been as well. He's 8-2, 6 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been submitted twice. He owes his rounds. 4-2 in Octagon. He's won 3 of 4. Submission loss in his last bout. Used to fight at 151 pounds. 22-3 as a pro boxer. 2 years younger than Ryšavý, minus 323.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ilbay here. Ryšavy's tough as hell. I gotta give it to him. Like he's clearly like a very clean boxer and a guy who does really well on the feet. But I think the difference maker for me here is just that like we're gonna see a little bit more well-rounded in Ilbay and a guy who's definitely more durable. You know, as you mentioned, Ryšavý has had a little bit of issue winning fights recently. And you know, he's fought tough guys, so there's no shame in that. But like, you know, he's taking a lot of damage in those fights too. And yeah, Ilbay's coming off that loss to Max Holzer. Didn't really take a lot of damage in that fight. Wound up, you know, a submission loss. Submission? Did that one end? Yeah, it ended with submission. So, you know, while I don't like that for Ilbay, you know, it is Max Holzer. The dude's undefeated. But like when we're talking about the striking on the feet, you know, Ryšavý is a guy who, like I said, clean boxing, but kind of needs to move forward in order to get his stuff going. When he's moving backwards, he does look panicked a little bit. You see him like reaching out in terms of defense, which really does open himself up to hooks a lot of times. Ilbay has nasty hooks. He's a little bit of a shorter guy, but he does a really good job of coming forward. And then the other thing I'll say about Ilbay is like the guy came from a pro boxing background, but he's done a really good job at his game. While it didn't, you know, the grappling didn't hold up against Max Holzer, we've sort of seen him sneakily get in on some takedowns lately and show that like he's not just a boxer, that we should consider him a threat at the featherweight division. And I think that that's a real possibility against Ryšavý too. You know, a guy who does like to bang and has good hands and is clean with his boxing. Well, you know, why wouldn't Ilbay try to exploit a weakness in the defense? So I'm going to go with Ilbay here. And also shout out to Deniz Ilbay walking out with lots of sombreros every time. You got a chance to watch his fight with Max Holzer, but he came out wearing, I believe, 18 sombreros, and he like took one off, and there was one underneath it, and the announcer was like, "Oh my god, another sombrero!" And they just kept doing it at increasing levels of volume until they got to 18.
That's fantastic. See, US production allow anything like that. UFC does not like fun. They wouldn't let anything interesting like that happen, for sure. All right. Speaking of UFC, here's a former UFC fighter in the co-main event, David Zawada. He's from Germany. He's fighting a fighter from the Czech Republic, Daniel Ligocki. They're fighting at 185, 3 5-minute rounds. I guess I had short notice listed for Ligocki, but yeah, I guess technically he wasn't on this card originally. So
he was week later against Ditlinka though. Okay. Yeah, the first fight card in February, maybe not 2 weeks, might have been like 3 or 4 weeks, but he was supposed to fight Ditlinka.
Right. All right, I'll tell you about Zawada first anyhow. He's Sagat, 19-12, 12 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out 6 times, submitted once. 2-3 in the UFC. He's lost 3 straight. 2-3 in the Octagon, excuse me. He has lost 3 straight. He's won 1 of 6. He went 1-4 in the UFC, 3-2 in KSW, 0-2 in PFL. He's fought pretty much everywhere. He is a regional champ, used to fight at 170, 2010 Pro MMA debut, plus 110. Ligocki, 5-2, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out once. He owes his rounds. 3-1 in Octagon. As I said, he's taking this fight on short notice, but he should have been in camp already. Anyhow, he's won 5 of 6. He did lose his last bout, though. He's fought at 155 and 194. Good weight class. 2-0 in Pro Muay Thai. 7 years younger than Sagat, 4 inches taller, minus 150.
Yeah, when you hear Ligocki in Muay Thai, that makes the most perfect sense. This guy is deadly with his elbows. You know, both in the clinch, where I think he does really good job of landing short range elbows, and then also like just like defending a takedown. Sometimes he's landed. I want to say he has a knockout just by hitting the Travis Brown elbows. If you remember, Travis Brown winning that way back in the day. I guess we should call him Curtis Blades elbows now instead.
Right? Yes, he does it too.
He's more recent. But like, you know, Ligocki's really dangerous with the elbows, really smart with his stand-up, light on his feet, moves in and out really well, makes it kind of harder to take him down. Zawada, man, it feels like this should be over, right? Like, I don't mean to be mean, but the guy's been knocked out in the first round in 4 of his last 6 fights. He's only won 1 of those 6, right? And so, like, being knocked out that many times and then immediately fighting a dude who's got mean elbows. I mean, like, he's good. Zawada has been good in the past, but like, even when he was in his heyday, like my favorite thing to say about him was like he was tough. And so, like, that if that
that means he got beat up a lot.
And also, if the best thing I could say about you was tough, and now you have been knocked out in the first round in 4 of your last 6, that's not true anymore. So, like, once upon a time, he was a really good fighter and like fun to watch and stuff. But now he's like kind of getting knocked out really quickly in a lot of his fights, and he's fighting a dude with mean elbows. Zawada is skilled on the ground. I think that one win in his last 6 fights, if I'm remembering correctly, was a heel hook he pulled out of nowhere. But like, I just don't see that happening against Ligocki. He's smart enough on the mat when he needs to be. He's crafty there. And I think just like the damage he's going to do with those elbows, he really only needs to connect once, I think. Give me Daniel Ligocki, slight favorite here.
Yeah, good odds for sure there. All right. Underdog. That was an underdog play, but we got Underdog sponsoring us. Underdog is your home for pick'em entries where you win up to 5,000 times your entry. Underdog is bringing the playoff magic all playoffs long. Every playoff weekend, open the Underdog app to see what promos are waiting for you. You don't have to wait till the weekend, though. Gumby will give you a winning player right now.
Sure. We get the Bulls in the Rockets on Tuesday night. I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, but I'm going to go with no, screw it. I'm going with Nikola Vucevic's rebounds. Who am I saying? The Rockets have been beat up a little bit in the front court. No Sengun up there. So if there's no Sengun, Thompson might pull some of those rebounds, but he's not taking enough away from my guy Vucevic. So give me the higher than on Vucevic's rebounds.
Sengun did come back last game, but they lost to like
is he out again?
Maybe, possibly.
I think he's out.
He played Sunday, it's not surprising. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with our code MMASGPN. And Rhythm, teach MM. Rhythm has crushed NFL this season, especially on props. Last season, they were even better in the playoffs. 6-1 and passing at touchdown props. That deserves a wow. Super easy to sign up, run predictions off the house model, or make your own and play with these sliders. Gumby, do you have a play for the people?
Yeah, give me the Bulls over the Rockets.
There you go.
The Bulls beat good teams. That's the thing they do. And the Rockets aren't bad. So give me the Bulls over the Rockets. For good measure, probably take the points.
All right. Looking to go premium? Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. So to download Rhythm, teach MM, promo code SGPN25. All right. Main event. It is for the Tip Sport Game Changer middleweight championship and €1 million. Kerim Engizek, he is from Turkey. He's fighting Krzysztof's Jotko. He is from Poland. They are fighting 3 5-minute rounds for this old tournament championship. We will tell you about, and we got close odds, which is good. Engizek first, 24-4, 14 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out. Submitted twice, never knocked out. 6-0 in Octagon, and he's the current middleweight champion. He's won 17 straight fights. He last lost at about September 2014. Multiple regional championships on his.
Man.
Correct. Get a shirt, get a merch, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Shirts, plural. Remember, promo code 2026 will get you 10% off at checkout. Engizek used to fight at welterweight, 2010 pro MMA debut. 1-0 as a pro boxer, 2 years younger than Jotko. He's at plus 105. Jotko, 28-6 with 1 no contest, 7 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice. 3-0 in Octagon. He's won 4 straight. He's last lost about October 2022. 11-6 in the UFC. He got a no contest in PFL. Used to fight at 205. 2010 pro MMA debut. An inch of height over Engizek, minus 118. The belt will not be on the line, though, right? Correct? It's just the tournament.
But I have to imagine if he loses here, they're just going to run back, right? Yep. That would be the move. Although there is an interim champion right now, it's your favorite fighter. At least your favorite fighter to watch, Ahmed Vert.
Yes. Yeah.
Mahmoud Muradov for the layman's out there. I'm going to go Engizek. I'm going to go with the underdog in the main event. He's a slight underdog, but I think for me, what this fight comes down to is just Krzysztof Jotko is a really good wrestler, right? Like, I think we can all agree with that he was a good wrestler in the UFC. He was a good wrestler in PFL. He was a good wrestler pretty much everywhere he's been. but there's just like not really much after that, right? Like he's not hurting you on the feet. He's not, I mean, most of the time he's not hurting you on the mat. Like he gets a guy down and he's just kind of there. And I will say, I've noticed these foreign commissions, particularly the judges over there, you're way more likely to see somebody spend 4 minutes in top control and lose a round than you are in the US. I mean, that's happening more and more in the US as well, but like it happens a lot out there. And I think there's a high probability that happens to Jotko in like 2 or 3 rounds. Because look, he's not a bad boxer. It just seems like there's no zip on anything he throws. And it's like almost the exact opposite with Engizek. Like sometimes it doesn't even look like he's trying to crack, and it like really smacks his opponent around. And he himself is a pretty damn good wrestler too. Like I know like kind of the narrative of this is that like Jotko is just like the better wrestler and Engizek has to keep his feet, but Engizek has been really successful with his wrestling over the years. You know, like go back and watch any of his fights for the or up to the title, or even including winning the title. Like he sneaks some wrestling in there almost every time, and it's pretty damn good. I really like the way he gets to the hips too. Not that Jotko doesn't do well at that too, but like it just is like if we have 2 really talented wrestlers, one is going to be damaging the other constantly and has good cardio to keep doing it for as long as he needs to. The other one is just going to be like really pleased to win positions repeatedly. I want the guy who's doing damage every time. So give me Kerim Engizek. I think the damage factor is going to be a big piece here.
Yep. Very good breakdown. All right, let's give you a recap. More plays, though. Don't you worry. He's got Engizek. He has got Ligocki after I mark you down. Ligocki. Now you got him. He's got Ilbay. He has got Hendin. He has got Orlov. And he's got Lightning Round, which he told you to pay attention to. So let's see what we have to pay attention to here.
Yeah, first one I don't have odds for, but I have to imagine he's going to be like negative 2,000. I'm giving him to him or giving him to you just in case it comes in at a playable number. But that's Tamerlan Dulatov. Tamerlan Dulatov, brother of Islam Dulatov over in the UFC, fights a lot like him. Incredibly long dude. And he like has really sneaky grappling, but also like very punishing striking too. Talked to him about all of his street fights once upon a time that he had gotten into, which was nuts. He was actually incarcerated for them, and he said he had to learn that like I believe he said he had to learn that Germany was not Chechnya, which is a crazy way to figure that out, I guess, to get in a whole bunch of fights about it. So yeah, so Tamerlan Dulatov, super fun to watch. Highly suggest watching this guy fight because he's a lot of fun. And then the other one I'm going to pick, I said, is the guy who I've won more money off of. I think it may be than any regional fighter in my whole life, and that's Zafar Motion. You some of you might remember the incredible Zafar Motion 13-1 hit in PFL once upon a time. Zafar Motion. I mean, the dude is a really, really, really tough wrestler, and he's like a tough out for anybody just for that reason alone. He's fighting Samuel Bark, who's, not a bad fighter, but like, one of those guys who is kind of underperformed in big moments and sometimes gets like sneakily beat by guys who can just wrestle. And so Zafar Motion, I think, is set up for a really nice underdog play again. He's only 2-1 this time instead of the 13 or 12-1 we got last time. But yeah, Zafar Motion, Tamerlan Dulatov.
It's a problem when people catch on, right? The odds start dropping, but still. All right. If you want more plays or anything else from us, you can hit us up in our Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Lots of smart people in there too, not just us. MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube in the comments or on Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer, at Jeff Fox Writer on Instagram. I have a Substack. You can check out my MMA writings and my UFC pick'em contests at moneymma.substack.com. Gumby has another podcast, Top Turtle MMA. Tell the people about it.
Yeah, this week we are talking with a couple of guys who are on Fury, which we're going to be breaking down on Thursday. I got Tonio Figueiredo and Abdul Kamara, both of who are fighting for titles at Fury.
Not Antonio, Tonio. So check out Top Turtle. Of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Gumby will bid you farewell until tomorrow.
I'm David Gumby Vreeland. He's El Pistolero Jeff Fox, and we will see you tomorrow.